welcome. I am Tita and you're watching Yarn Talk, which is my weekly knitting podcast. For those of you who are new, I am a knitter, knitwear designer, and the owner of the yarn shop on Etsy called Yarn for All LLC. And this is the space where I like to share my thoughts about how to make your knit and crocheted items that are a little bit more modern. So I talk a lot about textures, patterns, shapes, and colors. I also like to share my test knit calls via my YouTube channel. I also share my new designs, my pattern updates. I also show styling videos, and of course I also show my works in progress and my acquisitions. I always pick a topic for the week. And today I decided to share the 10 steps that I use to organize my yearly knitting plans, my yearly gift knitting plans in particular. And you could use these 10 steps to organize your yearly knitting plans for yourself. You could use these 10 steps to organize your yearly gift knitting plans, or both of them together. I would suggest to start this list and sort of follow me along and try to organize your gift knittings, and also add those knits that you really want to make for yourself, especially this year, especially if they have to be done for a particular day or date. Let's say you are knitting yourself something for a wedding or your birthday or Christmas, then maybe you want to put those in. But I kind of like to leave some space for, surprises. And the reason I don't organize my own knitting plans for myself is because I design my knitwear. So I sort of design whatever sort of I'm in the mood for. And I don't make plans to be in the mood for something. It's just like something inspires me, then I make it, irrelevant of whether or not it's the season of this garment or not. So I just design things that really strikes me, and I design sometimes multiple things at the same time. So I don't make design plans for myself, but I do make gift knitting plans. I don't want the holidays or any of these bigger events to be overwhelming, or that I need to rush to finish something. That would kind of take away the fun of the knitting. So I kind of like to get organized and really make a list and a do list of what I do and sort of when. So when the holidays come or when the big event comes, I don't feel overwhelmed, and I actually can enjoy gift knitting. I enjoy the knitting of the gifts, and I enjoy giving it, and it does not become something that I have to rush or stress out about. So first I will start with these 10 steps that you can apply to your own knits, to your gift knits, or both together. But I will refer to this list as my sort of gift knits because that's what I use it for. And I will look down to my sort of little Malinovka notebook designed by Malinovka. I will link the shop. It's a small shop in Hungary that does amazing work. And I use her stuff a lot to make notes, including my pattern notes. I kind of like to write things out. I don't use my phone to make pattern notes or my iPad. I like to write things down and sort of, I don't know, I prefer that. So let's see the list of how to organize the rest of the 10 months of the year to be ready for your gift knits, and including your holiday gift knits. So step 1, make a calendar. And this seems like an obvious, but you have to make a calendar listing the month that you're going to use for knitting. And I kind of listed it until December, but if you feel like you have something important coming up in January, then just add January, because you may want to sort of cast on for that project in December, particularly if you have enough time in the holidays or around the holidays when you're relaxing, you really feel like casting on something special for someone as a gift knit in January, then put down January as well. My calendar as of now only goes until December, but as I said, if someone's something very special is in January, you should put down January as well. So you can make this calendar either on an A4 piece of paper, but really start a separate piece of paper, or you can make a separate page in your notebook to put down March, April, whatever month we have left of the year, and leave some space because we will have to write under the name of the month names and dates. So you want to have some space. You can create this note in your iPad, on your computer, on a Word document, Google document, whatever you like to use. But make sure that there is enough space under the month to actually fill in the space. 2, put in the dates and the day of the events that you would like to knit for. And here I would like to highlight sort of 3 group of important events that I personally consider gift knitting for. And I only put down the events for the people who I consider actually knitting for. So I don't put down everybody's birthday I know, simply because I know that many of those people I will not gift knit this year. Maybe next year, sure, but right now I'm focusing on, I don't know, a certain amount of people or my closer friends or my closer family members to gift knit for. So first of all, I put down annually occurring events, such as birthdays or perhaps important anniversaries of family members I would ever consider, or friends I would ever consider knitting for. So literally put in the month, the date, and the name of the person, and say birthday. Let's say March, I don't know, mom's birthday, October, grandma's birthday, and so on until you get to either December, if you have your calendar, until December or until January. Please put down everyone you would consider gift knitting for, because after that you will be picking people who you want to gift knit this year for. But just put down everyone so you can see what patterns you have in mind and who you wish to gift knit in the end for, but put down these important annually occurring events. 2, put down important holidays that you would consider knitting for. In my case, that will be Christmas, which is what I celebrate. Some of my friends celebrate Hanukkah, so if I decide to knit a Hanukkah gift, I obviously put down Hanukkah and block out that part of the month. So pick the important sort of bigger events where you give a lot of gifts, and put down the name of the people who you consider sort of making a hand knit gift for or hand crocheted gift for. So let's say you celebrate Christmas as well, then go to December and put down Christmas and list the people who you would ever consider gift knitting. Please don't be afraid to list too many people because we will pick smaller garment, bigger garments, and then actually we will reduce the amount of sort of people you will end up gift knitting, but this will just give you an overall idea of the pool you can pick from. You could put down Easter if you would ever consider making, I don't know, an Easter scarf, an Easter sweater for someone, an Easter dress for someone. So you could put down any bigger events, whatever you celebrate and you think a gift knit would be appropriate for. And the 3rd type of event is special events for the year. And within special events of the year, there are usually 2 kinds of events. One kind of event is where you are invited for. One kind of event is where you are invited. So let's say you're invited for a wedding, you're invited for a baby shower. You normally know that these events are coming. Usually you receive your invitation way ahead of time, so you kind of know about these events. So if you consider gift knitting for those events, I think baby showers are great events to gift knit for, then please put those dates in your calendar as well. And let's say I don't know, Zuza baby shower in July 20. I just made that up, but sure. So put these in as well. And also there are special events in a year that you are not invited for but you know about. I could only think of a baby's birth that I would ever gift knit for. I know it's coming. I don't exactly know when is it. I know it's a big event and I'm not going to be invited for the birth itself most likely, but it's something that I may consider gift knitting for. So please think about these sort of 3 to 4 kinds of events. So annually occurring events like birthdays, bigger holidays that you would gift knit for, special events of the year where you're invited, and special events of the year where you are not invited. So please really take your time and fill in the calendar. Now try to see and pick the events and the people you would actually like to knit this year for, and underline or circle those people and events. And here it will be really heavily dependent on each and every of us how many sort of gift knits we can make, because it will be dependent on how much knitting time in a year we think we will get. I'm pretty sure that we have a really good idea how much we can knit in a year. Many people created how much I knitted this year videos for last year. That should give you a really good idea of how much overall knitting time you have. And you can think about how much of that time you would like to spend with knitting for yourself, and of course carve that time for yourself. But think about how much time could you spend knitting for someone else. I kind of enjoy knitting for someone else a lot. I don't know, it's very relaxing for me and a lot of fun to see if they like it. And if they don't like it, I actually adjust the pieces, so not a problem. But I do enjoy knitting for someone. So please go through this list and think about the event that you really would like to knit for, and pick as many as you think you would enjoy doing, and as many as you think you really can have time and still feel that you have plenty of time to knit whatever you want for yourself. And also you have time for sort of unplanned projects, because I do feel that knitting is a really creative project and a really creative sort of thing, and I kind of like the spur of the moment sort of cast-ons and things like that. That's how I design things. Whatever comes to my mind, I just start on it. So I kind of like to leave time for creativity, but I don't want to just carry it away and do all these things and forget about gift knitting. So please think really about how much this year you want to spend gift knitting, and circle names and events that you want to gift knit for. Step 4, think of the garment you would like to knit for that particular person whose name and whose event you circled. So here there is a lot to consider. Again, a time. If you think that you have time to knit and you want to knit a sweater, let's say for all these people, you're welcome to it. But here you should think about all kinds of garments. You should think about sweaters, cardigans, vests, short sleeve tops, hats, mittens, scarves, really whatever comes to your mind. I think picking a lot of different things could be actually a lot of fun. Knitting socks is relatively quick, knitting a beanie is relatively quick. So you could pick some easier projects and you could pick some harder projects. And if you feel like that you picked a lot of easy projects and only a couple of hard projects like sweaters, then you could maybe go back to your list and see if you want to add one more recipient of a gift for a smaller gift, like a scarf or a hat, if you can fit that into your calendar. And so just, you don't have to pick the pattern just yet, but you have to think of it, what is it gonna be, so you know how big the gift is going to be. And you should think about the recipient himself or herself, and you should think about, have you ever knitted them before? If not, how are you going to do this? Do you want to ask their opinion about what would they like? Do you have someone who you could ask to check what this person likes and measure? So a lot has to go into it. And also, if you want this to be a complete surprise, are you willing to sort of make adjustments if the gift doesn't perfectly fit? So think about a lot in terms of what you feel comfortable knitting for someone, how close they are to you, or how adventurous they are, and pick the garment. Not the pattern yet, but pick the garment. What do you want? Let's say mom's birthday, mittens, grandma's birthday, a hat, and so on. In step 5, make a new calendar and list the person's name and the due date to give it. So the date that you give it, and mark it with red. Normally I just sort of circle the due date or put the letters in red. Let's say create again the calendar, same way as you did before. You put down the rest of the months, starting in March, and either go until December or January. Now you reduced your list just only to the people who you decided you gift knitting for, and you exactly know sort of what type of garment you're knitting for. So pick the due date when you are planning to give it. If it's their birthday, I would put down the birthday. You may meet them a little bit after or a little bit before. Christmas is again a given date. Birthdays, events like weddings are a set date. So I would put that as a due date of my project with red. Let's say I would say mom, I would say, I don't know, grandma, October 1st, grandma birthday hat. And I would put this in a red square, or I would put this in red letters. You can use your computer for this, or you can, I don't know, use a paper notebook, whatever you want. But I would suggest all of you, which is actually what I do as well. I use my notebook, but the due dates are actually also in my phone under events. So I literally go and set that event on my phone, and I will get a reminder of that event sort of the day of, which I kind of like. And I use the calendar on my phone for these kind of purposes. I find it very helpful. Most of us carry our phones everywhere. So at this point, since these dates are sort of finalized and you made up your mind, you can put it in your phone. Obviously, you can erase this later on and so on and adjust it. These events in your phone are easily updated, but I would put a reminder with these due dates and the name of the garment, sort of just like sweater or hat, on my phone at this point. Number 6 is the really fun part where we pick the pattern. And pick the pattern and think how much time we will need to make this garment. So again, here you can do a few different approaches. You can pick the pattern and go for it without any help if you feel comfortable. I would probably never do that unless I knitted for the person before and I know the measurements and everything. You could also pick a couple of patterns and discuss it with the person you are making this for. You could say that I'm planning to make you something. You don't have to say for when. If you approach them right now, they're not gonna know that you're knitting for them for Christmas and you're thinking so much ahead of time, or you're knitting for them for their birthday. But if you feel more comfortable with that, if you're not so sure about the style, then I would show them the pattern and they could help you pick it out. If you want to have it more as a surprise, then you could talk to someone who knows the person and discuss it, which is what I do normally. I talk to my sister, what does she think I should knit for my cousin for her birthday, which is what I'm doing. That will be my next gift knit plan. You can do whatever you like, but picking the pattern could be a lot of fun. And here you can just really think outside of the box. You can think of the person and think what they like to wear, or what do you think they would look cool in, and you don't have to like use your style to make them wear what you like. Think about them and see what they would like. Once that's done, think about the size you have to knit for them. And again, here you can ask for help or not ask for help. But I kind of like to know what size people prefer, how much positive ease they want in terms of a cardigan or a sweater with some positive ease if I never knitted for them before. If I have access to their favorite garment, then I can just secretly measure if I can and go from those measurements. Or you can ask someone to do that for you. Let's say you're knitting, I don't know, for your best friend. Ask your best friend's husband to take a measurement of that sweater that she likes so much and send it to you, so you have a better idea of the measurements. And once that's done, think about how much time that will realistically take for you to knit that sweater comfortably. You kind of have an idea of how much time it takes for you to knit a sweater for yourself, and I normally go from there. And I know how much time I take to knit a sweater for me, and then I see how much it would take me to knit um, that sweater in a larger size or a much larger men's size, and have a good estimate of how much time those stitches would take me to make, or the difficulty of the pattern. Obviously, if it's color work, it takes longer than if it's a simple stockinette stitch. So think really hard and add an extra week. That's what I always do, to give myself enough time, because things can happen. I can get sick. I all of a sudden don't have that much time in the week. So I always add an extra week, and then I am definitely good. And once that is done, so you pick the pattern and the time. Now you will have to also put this day into your calendar. And the way I do that is, if I'm knitting for a birthday, you exactly have the day of the birth of the person. So I go, let's say it takes me, I don't know, 5 weeks to knit a sweater, plus one, that's 6. So from the day of, let's say, my sister's birthday, I go back 6 weeks, and mark that 6th week, the whole week, as a cast off week. Cast on, sorry, cast off, no. A cast on week for my sister's birthday sweater. So I know how much the pattern will take. I add a week. I go from the actual day of the birth, and I go back about that many weeks that I will need, and I mark that in the calendar for now on. Things can pile up and birthdays can be close, so you may end up moving that day because you don't want to work on 2 sweaters in the next 5 weeks, and then on 2 socks in the next 2 months. So we will work on spacing these out, but for now on, just put these dates down as they go. And then you will see what you need to move and where. So we still sort of just penciling these dates in as of now. And the next step is to actually do this for every item you have. And once you're done, look at your calendar and see if there are any months that seems too busy, or if 2 larger projects sort of overlap, because let's say your mom's and grandma's birthday fall on the same month. And you decided to knit both of them a sweater. You give yourself 6 weeks, but that means that you have basically 6 weeks to knit 2 sweaters. Then you could move one of the sweaters 12 weeks ahead of time and the other one 6 weeks ahead, and mark the entire week of those days as a sort of cast on week, because you don't know which day of the week you will have time to do this. So mark the whole week as cast on week. And see if you, once you put down these dates, do you like the way they are sparsed out? And obviously your Christmas gifts or Hanukkah gifts, you should basically space out during the entire year after you marked the important events like birthdays and weddings and so on, because Christmas is so far away, but actually it's close when you have to knit so many things. So I would mark the birthdays and the annual events, see if I kind of can manage those timelines and there is not too much overlap, particularly not with large projects. If I have an overlap with a sweater and a sock, I am perfectly fine with that, or a sweater and a beanie, I'm perfectly okay with that. 2 sweaters might be too much, so I would want to space them out a little bit more. So give yourself 6 weeks or whatever you need for each sweater, plus whatever, or 5 weeks plus 1. And make your calendar that way and add everything. See if you're not too much overwhelmed. If this is still overwhelming, take out some gift knits. Make sure that you have time for your spontaneous knits for yourself or your planned knits for yourself. Next step is look at your stash. And this might be really fun. Most of us have a yarn stash. We buy yarn that we like and we sort of keep them for special projects. And I don't say knit with the yarns that you definitely want to cast on for yourself, but look at the yarns that you have for a while and you didn't feel like casting on for yourself, and look at the reasons for that. If you have like single skeins you bought, for you don't know why, but you know you have gift knit plans to gift knit a beanie. Think whether or not that skein would be perfect for the person you're thinking of. Is it their color? Is it the material they like? Which you will have to think about whether or not they use all kinds of materials, if they have any skin sensitivities, um, and so on. So you have to put a lot of thought into the material and the color. But look at your stash and pick the yarns that you didn't use for yourself a while and you don't have any specific plans, and see whether or not any of your gift knits would be good for that yarn. And don't worry about it if you're a little bit of short on the yarn. You can order that a little bit later, maybe not the same dye lot number, but you will be able to do so. So look at your stash. Also, you may have some yarn that you ordered before, and let's say it's a little bit more prickly and you don't like it, but you know that your mom doesn't care, or someone you're planning gift knitting doesn't care. And then maybe consider using that yarn for the pattern you picked. Let's say you can make it work. Also, there are some yarns that we order and the color just doesn't exactly come out the way we want it, but we think we can make it work. I kind of don't like to do that. I don't send the yarn back if I know that it's not for me exactly, but it's gonna be perfect for this person. Then I don't send the yarn back and I keep it. So maybe think about those yarns first, or think about your stash and see what else can you use. And it's also possible that in your stash you will find, let's say, 3 skeins of yarn in this color, same yarn, but 2 skeins in this color, but same weight. You could think about the pattern and making the pattern with stripes maybe, so you're able to use these yarns. Think about maybe other than stripes, you could use these colors, making the sort of the neckband and the cuffs in a certain color and the rest of the body in a different color. You could make the back and the front with one color and the sleeves with other colors. So there are a lot of options. Alternatively, you can see how many skeins you have, how many you're missing, and just order the missing skeins. But I would start with my stash and see what I can use from there for my gift knits. Next step, put all of these skeins that you separated for a particular gift knit in a separate bag or project bag or extremely large Ziploc bag, and put a name on it. And I would say grandma's birthday sweater, or if you know the pattern name, grandma's Lolita birthday sweater, whatever that will be. And just put it in a Ziploc bag or put it in a project bag and put it away. And consider what else do you need to actually order. And I would make a list here of things that I need to order. If you are short one skein and you know you're gonna need one skein of this yarn, I would put that down. I would put down the name of the yarn, the color of the yarn, lot number, dye lot number if you have that. Please also think about if you need buttons, zippers, and what other little things you may need, and make a list of things that you actually need to order. And as the last step, I would also make a list of the yarns that I will need to buy for the projects that I did not have yarn in my stash for. And in this case, I would make a very large list and add it to my list of the things that I need to buy. Sometimes I just separate it by a line. I know that these are just a couple of things that I need to finish some of my gift knits, and these are the full sweater quantities or the full scarf quantity I need to buy. And you could do 2 things. You could sort of wait for a sale, or you could look out for sales in your inbox and make a larger purchase when these are on sale. And as soon as you purchase them, then sort of update in your calendar that you actually have everything for the project. So if you remember, we put down cast on week in your calendar. And once you have enough yarn for a project to be casted on, I would say everything ready under that, or I would say you have yarn and supplies. But sometimes I just say all set to go, or whatever will remind you that you actually have everything separated for that project in a project bag. In case you don't, and in case you want to leave this for sort of the last moment to purchase these yarns, in that case, I would go to my phone or my notes and set a reminder in my phone for about 2 weeks before cast on day. And I would put on buy yarn, buy zipper, buy buttons for whatever grandma sweater, and that's it. So 2 weeks should be enough for you to pick and have your item arrive, hopefully. So you are more or less all set for the week you want to cast on. So as soon as your yarns arrive, I would sort of always update my calendar to make sure that I have everything I need, or so I have these projects that are all set to go on cast on week. Or if my reminder in my phone will remind me 2 weeks before my project that I need to buy something, then that will be basically the last moment that I should be buying it to be all set to go in 2 weeks, or by the time the project is done, or by the time I need those extra things, they are there. And here you should also consider whether or not you have the appropriate needle sizes or sort of cable sizes in case you're knitting something that you don't have sort of these basic things for. Make sure that you have that as well. So check that also before you check mark the project as ready to go, or all set, or I have everything for. Find out the best words and the easiest words that you have for this project, so you know that they are basically all set to go. And don't forget that you can always update these things. You can switch out the patterns, whatever works for you. But these reminders, I think particularly on your phone, that will remind you of these things, even though you forget, or you forgot where you wrote it down, these things, your phone will remind you, or your iPad will remind you. So I actually have these reminders in my phone as well. So I hope that these steps were helpful for you to organize your knits or your gift knits, or both, for these upcoming years, upcoming year, and upcoming 10 months. And if you have any questions, you can sort of comment in the comment section. I would love to hear if these steps were helpful and if it helped you get organized. How long did this take you to do? Did you enjoy the process? And so on. So please do that in the comment section so I know. Talking about my gift knits, last week I casted on a project. This is a gift knit for my sister's birthday, and I am using a pattern from Kutobat Kika's Knit This book that I showed you last week. And this is the book with 21 knitting patterns. And I decided to knit a cardigan, I decided to knit something, a larger garment for my sister for her birthday. And I showed her this book, and I showed her a couple of other patterns that I was thinking about. And I didn't want to give that big of a surprise that I knit her something that she doesn't like. And it's still going to be a surprise and a beautiful thing, so she's going to be happy. And she ended up picking the honey cardigan right here. And I was very glad that I asked her. This is not what I picked for her actually originally, so good that she told me. And I felt very lucky because I had the yarn in stash. The yarn is Drops Melody, and I had Drops Melody sweater quantity from more than one color. So I showed her those colors, and I asked her if she would like any of these, or she would like to have a different color, then I would just order. But she loved this color 22 purple. I ordered this a while back, and it's just a tiny bit brighter than I hoped for, and I never ended up casting on this project for myself, and I was very happy that she loved it. It's a beautiful yarn. since I have more than a sweater quantity, I consider maybe knitting for myself later on, but right now I'm using the yarns for my stash for her project, and I'm very happy about that. Because it's a beautiful yarn and I'm glad I can use it. I enjoy knitting with it, it's super soft. I'm a little bit worried about what's going to happen when my sister washes this over and over again. But I did a gauge swatch and I washed it, and I kind of checked it how much the yarn expands. It expanded a little bit. So I took that into account when I did my cast on stitches. And this is where I am at. This is the back panel. This is a cardigan that is knit in panels and pieces, and this is how far I got yesterday. I'm completing this project by the end of next month, so I have plenty time to finish this sweater. It is using 1x1 rib and then fisherman's stitch. No, actually, sorry, half fisherman stitch. And this is how far I got. I think it looks really nice. I don't know which side I like better. I'm actually gonna ask my sister which side she prefers to be on the outside. But this is how far I got. And so far I really enjoy working with the yarn. I'm really happy that I have enough of it. And I'm glad that I asked my sister about knitting for her, because I really wanted to know what positive ease she prefers for this cardigan to be. And it turns out that the sizes in the book increase by like 10 centimeter, and my sister would fall exactly in between two sizes. So I just sort of adjusted my stitch count to make the size that is her preferred size. So I'm really happy about that. Of course, I may still have to make adjustments, but that is okay. I'm not gonna let her try this on while I'm making it. At least I think I'm not, unless she insists on seeing it. I'm gonna try to keep the end project as a surprise. I'm gonna show her just this piece to see which side she prefers to be in the front, and then I go from there. And the last thing today I want to show you is my new acquisitions, which is this book, Knitting for Olive, that I got from Amazon.com, I believe. And the book contains 20 designs. I looked through the book. I kind of enjoyed the beginning of the book where they talk about sort of the company, how the company came to be. I really enjoy knowing about the companies. And then there are 20 designs. I think there are scarves, if I remember. There are a lot of sweaters. There are beanies, maybe no scarves, vest, a collar, t-shirts, no vest, I guess. Oh no, there's a scarf, yeah. And even a wrap. So there is a variety of patterns in here, and I am using this as an inspiration as well for my gift knits. And I outlined 2 sweaters that I think my cousin may like. And she is the next that I am gift knitting for after I'm done with my sister's sweater. The first I picked is the waffle sweater. I kind of like the design. I think it's made of silk mohair. So I have many silk mohair in stash, but I also have multiple colors in my shop. So I will see, I think about that, what I'm gonna use for that. And the second one is the Carl Johan sweater. I found this sweater really interesting, and I think this is calling for merino with silk together, which I also have either on stash or at my shop in multiple colors. So that will be helpful. And I decided to show these to my sister with a couple of other patterns and to see whether or not I should ask my cousin directly, or we could safely say what to pick for her and be as a surprise. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna narrow it to a couple of patterns and see and ask her which one she likes. I ask sort of about the measurements and maybe even the color, but I will see. And what I would suggest for you as well to do if you're gift knitting, especially for the first time, make notes about the measurements and maybe the adjustments you had to make after that, and keep that note. So maybe next time you're knitting for the person, it can be an absolute surprise because you know their preferences and you know their measurements. So maybe your second gift knit can actually be a complete and total surprise. Um, if you like my video, please consider subscribing so you don't miss my next one. Otherwise, thank you for listening, and I will see you in a week.